let's not lose sight of the fact that Tanev, is he out?
Well, we talked about that too last night. That's a huge
that
concern.
Ain't going to be
forward,
pretty, right? Like it starts to look real crappy when that guy leaves the lineup.
He has missed 7 games this year. They have 1 win, 4 losses, and 2 overtime losses. The 1 win was that crazy first of 2 in a row in San Jose. It has not been good when Chris Tanev's not been in there. And if you really think about the big picture, if Tanev and Shillington are out, we know Shillington hasn't played a game all year and might not. That's 2 of your 4 best defensemen, I would suggest, or maybe 5 since Uyghur was added. Like that's now when you get a DeSimone, Gilbert, Mackey-esque pairing.
Well,
it's
yeah,
and Stone is. I feel like it's too much Stone right now.
Too much Stone, and you could probably a lot of teams could survive. Like Anderson, Hanifin, and Zadorov are your top 3 now. No,
well, Uyghur's in there too. That'd be your top 4.
But my point being, Uyghur don't play as well with anyone other than Tanev from the little bit that we've seen. I think playing with Zadorov,
with the top guys, but yeah,
I think playing with Zadorov's tough. I think that's a tough task for anyone. I like him. I think he's played pretty good actually, but he's tough to play with because he just does whatever the hell he wants. He's not really
totally. A lot of structure
to the system. Yeah, so it's no.
Is Uyghur the same? Would guys say Uyghur's maybe tough to play against or tough to play with because of his unpredictability?
I don't know. Is that what it is? I don't think it's that impressed with Uyghur's game.
The giveaways were awful last night, but I mean Ekblad's been brutal when he never has Uyghur too. So I don't think like that's the best we've seen Ekblad is with Uyghur beside him, and the worst is when it's Uyghur not there.
I talked to a guy from Florida today, and he mentioned the coaching thing that I brought up a couple weeks ago, and he's like,
in Florida? Paul Maurice?
Brunette Maurice?
In Florida. Anyway, it plays into the Calgary discussion only because Brunette and Quenneville's a hard ass, but he also lets his veteran guys he's good with them, right? He lets them run things, and they had control of the room, and he put the templates out, and they followed it, blah, blah, blah. And Brunette followed in those footsteps. And all of a sudden now you get rid of and bring in Maurice, and Maurice is very strict by the book, blah, blah. It's not going well in Florida. My point being, you bring Uyghur and Huberdeau here. What's Darryl? Hard-ass, strict. You can only do things a certain way, but how's it going for them? It's not, right? It's a different style of coaching that isn't. I don't even want why I'm rambling about the coaching, but it hasn't been good for Uyghur, and it's a different
system. It totally is.
I don't know if he's not a good player, or if he just doesn't suit the system, but it has not been a good run. It's fine. It's not. I don't think anyone's blaming Uyghur for the position the Flames are in, but he certainly hasn't been all that he was billed to be.
I wanted to ask you, in a game like last night, Tanev plays what was the
232.
232. So essentially, the coach, everybody, specifically the blue liners, have a pretty good idea that he's not coming back. When you're in that spot as a guy we're now down to 5, how different does that make your game? How does that affect the way because it's got to, right? You got to conserve energy. You're now playing, you're moving to different sides. You got different partners. How truly difficult is that? Because there were a few, again, call it unpredictable, Zadorov, Uyghur, Hanifin at times. The whole crew.
Stone. For Christ's sakes, how hard is this?
A lot of Stone.
Put
God,
Stone
like,
Jesus
his feet
Christ,
are so
it's
heavy
game.
right now.
Figure it out.
It's so heavy.
Like, if that's the issue, Boom, I'm not even saying that I blame Stone, but Stone is Stone. So if you can't play with random guys, and we play 2 guys go every other time. That's all it is. It's easy. It's easy. It's easier to play with 5 than it is with 6 quite often. You're not trying to massage it. And certainly for only 1 game, it's not hard. Sit Stone on his ass. If you get a power play and you want to use him to save some energy for the other guy, go ahead. You want to use him on a penalty kill? If he's good at that, go ahead. You do not have to play him all the time.
I was surprised to see him after Tanev left as much as you did.
Yes. Like, how hard is this? They've done it before. Who's running the D? I got to call Huska again? Like, Jesus. Hey, let's put D. Simone and Gilbert out with 8 minutes left in a tight game on the island. Yeah, good idea. That'll be good.
I bet Ryan Huska would be he'd appreciate the call. I'm sure he'd like the input.
He would know more than me because he's coached. So.
If you had it to share. No, listen,
why
come
are you
on.
rolling your eyes like that?
You played, look, you had a 5-goal season. We trust your, but honestly though, because I do wonder, is it hard? Is it as hard as it looked last night?
It's not hard.
Because it did. It looked like bingo balls.
That was a sloppy defensive effort.
Against an awful team.
Yeah. It's
against a bunch of stud forwards that you couldn't bear. Like, no kidding. Tanev's out. We won't be able to handle these guys at all. The offensive power that they bring. Like, if you can't
tip your cap to Gaudreau and Laine, but after that, come on. Right?
Well, exactly. Come on. It's the NHL. There's going to be guys that can play. Boone Jenner's fine, but what are we talking about? And you have last change. So what the hell difference? You match it up. Take two. Take your top D pair and play them against their top forwards. And then siphon through the other 3D. Like, holy Christ.
I was going to give Hanifin my toast of the night, and then the third period happened, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm not a Hanifin guy, and I was trying to be nice, but I just can't do it anymore. This is too tough.
That power play in the third period after the too many men on the ice call, where Hanifin couldn't keep the puck in, he hops over his stick, and then instead of backtracking with it, he just kind of fires the fucking thing in. Well, now we're offside.
And now I can't give you player of the game.
All right. Well, 28 minutes for Anderson, 26-46 Zadorov, Hanifin 24, Weegar 21, Stone 15-43.
And while we're on the topic, we talked to Boom about it. There's Chicago, one of the worst teams in the NHL, which may not mean anything. They just went to overtime with a 32nd team out of 32 last night. Then it's the second half of a back-to-back in Seattle with travel in the middle. You're then off from Friday till the following Monday, like a 10-day break. If you know Tanev is gone for, let's say it's 4 to 6, 6 to 8, are you moving that shopping list onto your to-do list for the bye week rather than wait till the deadline if you're Treliving? Because I just don't think you can roll a Stone Mackey third pair for, more than a few weeks.
Jeez, man, you're probably right. I
said to Ryan last night, you're in a spot where you need to upgrade. You really do. The answer is no. You can't have Stone. If you're in a playoff hunt, you can't.
You can't have Stone Mackey.
So are you seriously going to be giving up assets right now on a team that is right there as far as being a playoff wild card team, let alone a cup threat?
I would see sort of like the post-deadline geo-injury Schlemcat type edition, not a, hey, Joel Edmondson, let's give up a
But wasn't that a waiver thing?
Exactly. So the caliber of player that crosses waivers would be an upgrade on what they're putting on their third pair right now is what I'm suggesting. I would say go get somebody's 7th or 8th best defenseman for almost nothing and try to bolster it for a bit. But again, we're hypothesizing on the Tanev timeline.
We don't know anything. They're not. Well, we don't believe they're skating. It's the poker tournament today,
Correct.
And then
practice tomorrow.
But it didn't look good. Right shoulder, he got bumped there. He of course had the shoulder injury going back to last year in the playoffs. Torn labrum, had surgery for that. I don't know that it's the same shoulder. Regardless,
it's not good.
You feel like, and Anderson obviously would maybe be more so, but it feels like that's the one guy you couldn't lose, right? If it's Hanifin or Weegar, you can kind of maybe move things around. Just everything. And I know I brought this up once before, and I think you said, come on now, it's Chris Tanev. And then we watched them lose 2, 3, 4 games without him. It's like, yeah, they're really quite a different team.
Do you remember the Oilers series? How shitty they were defensively? I'm not saying it would be a different series, but they're not giving up the number of breakaways and 2-on-1s if Tanev's healthy and playing. He only played a tiny bit and played, with a few limbs that were functional in that series, and you still saw a noticeable upgrade. He's a stabilizing defensive force. This is an elite defender who really can't do much in the O-zone. But if you want to just throw a wet blanket in your own end, Chris Tanev's like one of the best at it.
Yeah, you got to respect what he brings. He does do a lot. I mean, and he also might be a calming factor with the coach the way he is, right? That's another thing that can be overlooked. But I don't know.
Mhm.
We're spending a lot of time speculating that he's going to be out for a while. So I guess we better find. I think they could
Well, I mean,
upgrade
yeah,
their
it's just
defense no
scary
matter
as it is,
what.
Agreed. And honestly, if Oliver Shillington ever wanted to come back, there might not be a time he'd be more well received than right now.
It's weird.
And I
don't
know he's
what,
got issues that we don't know what they are, and they're obviously serious, and we don't want to make light of that. But God, do they miss him?
They do. I was thinking about it when Tanev went out yesterday, and I'm sitting there going, "What's wrong with this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Shillington's not there." And I think we forget because it was a bit of an enigma last year. You didn't know what you were going to get with him coming into training camp, and he played his ass off. He was really good for the team. He had a couple stretches where it started to wane a little bit, but he was actually pretty damn effective as a top 4 defenseman. So
yeah, I think just they're missing that stretch pass out of their own zone, hitting guys in stride.
well,
The fourth man jumping up into the play. Like there's just offense created that isn't happening.
Even going back for pucks, right? He skates so well. When puck gets dumped in, it comes out right away, right? Because he's not good. He's not matching the other team's speed. He's got the speed to get back and get it moving forward, as opposed to you might not get beat back to the puck, but like when I went back for a puck, all I was hoping for was a tie. He's skating back for the puck. He's wheeling around the net. And he's starting it out the other way.
It's fun playing defense when you're not in your own zone, right?
Yeah,
that's what he was good at.